Okay, we're live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing great. We're back at it again with another episode of the Detox Podcast, episode 75, actually. My name is Darren Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. And if you're new here and you enjoy music, podcasts, or comedy, consider subscribing. We're almost at 600, so we're trying to hit that before the end of the year. Before I introduce you guys my guest this week, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it feels as if you're able to do more and more from home. So while you're home, why aren't you saving money on your car insurance? Your hometown agency of Kenosha Auto Insurance specialized for years in simple, hassle-free insurance using the latest in touch-free technology to help you and your family get the best rates. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today at 262-448-4141. That's 448-4141. And the website is kenoshains.com. It's on the screen right now. One last time, that's 262-448-4141. Please give them a call. They will get you the best rates. Now, with all that being out of the way, I'm excited to introduce you guys to my guest this week. She is was one of the founders, right, of UBMW Corp, yes, and is now moved on to My Sister's House, which is an organization out in Kenosha, correct? Based out in Kenosha.
Yes.
And is basically here to give us some knowledge here at Detox. So let's give a wet Detox welcome to Elizabeth Webb. We don't have the clap track. I say I'm going to get it every week, and I don't do it. First off, congrats on the change. Obviously, I just found out about the change right before we went live. So what sparked that, I guess, first off? Or what is My Sister's House, first off? And then we'll talk about the change.
Well, My Sister's House is basically my organization, and it's what I'm implementing into Kenosha and what I'm bringing to Kenosha for a change within the community. So it's been an idea I've been running across for years now.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like a catering thing, but because I had spinal surgery, I can't really do the catering like I was. So I'm just focusing on the community work that I'm doing. So
okay. So what is it you're trying to do and change in the community for those that don't know?
Well, right now we're offering different resources to families in need or people in need in Kenosha. Things that people wouldn't normally know about or have access to. We're kind of just bringing that to them, bringing it forward and giving them an easier access to it.
Okay.
You know, so like right now we're just we're doing a coat and toy drive for the holidays.
Sweet.
So we've gotten like plenty of donations. We're still getting donations coming in.
That's
we
awesome.
just did our first delivery of Coach yesterday. So that was amazing.
Cool.
So we had got close to 18 families. We got 18 families. So we went out delivered Coach to everybody yesterday, and then we're doing the toy part in another 2 weeks. We'll be doing that.
Oh, cool.
And delivering gifts out to the families.
So what kind of inspired you to take this route of almost, community service? Like,
Well, because I'm from the community, like I've raised my 3 kids by myself as a single mother in Kenosha, and there was always things that you can reach out for, like resources that you can use, but it was very limited to the amount that you can use or utilize.
I feel like a lot of people don't know, too.
Yeah,
that's
and
something that I, even out here, like I know there are things, but I'm just not aware of them.
Yeah, and then it's like you have to dig around to find it, or hopefully someone tells you something about it, and it's just like you go through life and you could have did this different and you didn't know that all that time, like you could have saved the whole heartache of 5 years of struggling if you known about this one thing, so. And they're not freely giving out that information to people. I don't know why. I don't know what the controversy is there, but I found a struggle. It was a struggle to find the help that you needed,
Which I can imagine is especially frustrating when you mentioned being a single mother and whatnot in Kenosha.
Right.
What is it like? Obviously, just wanted to give back to the community, maybe making it a little bit easier.
Right.
What was like the call to action? Like when were you like, okay, I need to now is the time to get involved? Because obviously you may have felt that way for a while, but when was it like, I need to do this?
When I witnessed Frank Nitti marching from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C. And my son was struggling. He's been struggling mentally with like a PTSD almost because he got involved with some people, just the wrong type of crowds or whatever, and was getting jumped. And like he was afraid to do anything, afraid to go out the house, afraid to get on the bus, afraid to go to school. And I was seeing him struggle, and so he ended up going to jail. He was in jail for 4 months. And when Frank came walking. He came walking right past my house, and the excitement in my son, his want to be out there, and know that somebody's fighting for people like him, it made me go out and do that because I knew he couldn't go do it. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I had time on my hands, like I've been off work since October. I had a serious back injury, and I had to have major spine surgery in February. So I still hadn't been able to work, And by the grace of God, I was able to walk still, after the surgery, because I could have been paralyzed. I was almost paralyzed.
Oh my goodness.
So I was able to walk, and I was like, well, I'm walking.
Yeah.
Like I didn't march.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to look at it.
I didn't march the whole time. I didn't march a lot of the time, but I marched enough, and it just felt like I had missed so much because all I've done is work,
Yeah.
So like I've missed so much of any opportunity of trying to be out there and make a change.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was fighting by myself. I was fighting this fight against the school system, against the healthcare system, like the work environments. I've always worked, and it was always a struggle, like it was always just like you didn't have time to go to school because you were working so much,
Yeah.
So
What did you do before all this?
before this, I worked at Amazon before this, and before that I have been a cook for
Okay, so that's where the catering was.
I've been in the
gotcha.
food service for a little bit over 28 years.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah.
experienced in it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I ended up going back to school for some time for culinary arts at Gateway. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, like that's always been my passion. Like, and I love doing big events. I've always done big catering events and things like that. And it's just my sister's. Well, it's actually my sister's place, but because of the wording, when we went to go get the name, I had to go with house. So. But my sister's house has like always been an idea that I wanted to
It
bring.
originally was going to be food related.
Yeah, originally it was going to be food related. Like it was going to be, but it was going to be kind of community service as well because I was talking about offering food to people, to families, like because as a mother and my kids were very active in the sports, they, but I would work. I would go drop kids off at practice, pick kids up from practice, or go to games and come back from games. And like you're running so much, you don't have time to sit down and make a meal for your kids.
Yeah.
And it's like you go in there, you go do the same thing as the same routine. You got 3 kids that you have basketball practice, soccer practice, and another basketball practice.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get home and get
you
them
got to
some food.
work and deal with all
and
your
then you got to
stuff.
work and do my stuff too. Who really has a chance to actually cook a really healthy meal for them.
Yeah.
And I thought about my friends and other people that I had met out there during that time and how people are like literally giving their kids, just shoving fast food down their kids' throats,
Yeah.
America has the highest rate of obesity in children, so it's just like if you can cook a healthy meal or have that prepped and ready for a family to pick up, be like, hey, I know you got 30 minutes. Just swing by, grab it. It's ready for you. Pop it in the oven and go.
Yeah.
Kind of my sister's place.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that's just been a focus, and it's just like, and my brother as well has been always implementing it to me, like helping the kids and making sure that you reach out for someone else's kids. So at my sister's house, we're trying to strive to develop programs where the kids don't have to feel like they have to go home and be at home by themselves.
Oh, I got you.
You extend your time, you extend your day to these children that are in need, to these families that are working 2 jobs a day and they can't go home, but their kids are at home, and they've taken away all the community centers that the kids could possibly utilize.
Especially right now.
Yeah, in Kenosha. Like we had the CYC, we had the Lincoln Center, we had the other Boys and Girls Club. All that is gone. So you have the Boys and Girls Club, and it costs an arm and a leg, and even if you're working 2 jobs, sometimes it's very pricey, especially if you got 3 and 4 kids,
Yeah.
So like trying to bring back a community center like that for the kids to be able to.
How much is it now for the Boys and Girls Club or like a YMCA? I know
Well,
YMCA is like $30 a month, isn't it? 30 to 32 a month.
I'm not really sure because when over $76 right now.
What is it? Over 76 in Kenosha? Oh my goodness.
Because I know when my
Wow.
kids, she's 22 now. So
Yeah.
when they were little, it was $65 for the Boys and Girls Club
Oh
per
my
child.
God.
and then $125 per sport.
Wow.
You know,
Holy
so
cow.
you know, like you're working and
That's absurd.
yeah,
Especially, and like I think for me personally, that's something like there's not a lot of, I don't know out in Kenosha per se, but I know out here we don't have like a ton of great like parks and whatnot. And
right,
we do have them. We have
right,
a bunch, but I know like that's something when I went and lived out in Janesville, there was a huge community of guys where we would all just go hoop, like, you know, older
right,
men, young kids, everything would go like play basketball and whatnot at parks.
right.
I think that's super important
Yeah,
to have
it is.
something. Parks versus rec plexes though and things like that are very different in that, you know, anybody can just waltz up to the
Yeah,
park and
you don't
that's
have control over
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of stuff,
you know. And so I think I definitely like the idea of trying. So is that like a goal that you'd like to
Yeah,
accomplish?
yeah, I'm trying to get some things and play for that. And I know with like we're basically out of school, school shut down, so everybody's on virtual stuff. For my friend's son, he's in a disability school, so they need the hands-on training. So they're going to school. He's autistic, so he goes to school. But with school being out the way it is, I'm hoping to implement this. You know, like within by next fall. You know,
Yeah.
and then there's a couple different programs that we're working towards too, and this is like the non-bullying program that we're trying to instill, you know. So
How do you go about start trying, like, what is a non-bullying program?
non-bullying program is where you implement well, my program is
Yeah.
where you implement washers and dryers into the school. So a lot of kids get bullied for their clothes not being clean. They
Oh, really?
are not being able to afford to have wash clothes or new clothes, you know. And a lot of kids are mean. A lot of kids are mean.
Yeah.
And it's hurtful. And it gives the kids, it breaks them down a little bit more because you never know what they're going through at home. So by taking that thought and taking that fear of them, you know, going to school with dirty clothes, they already have the breakfast club that come in early in the morning. So why not during that time take their clothes, make sure they have a clean set of clothes right there that they can go put on. We'll take that
Yeah.
clothes and wash it while they are eating breakfast.
Interesting.
You know, like, and then
I think that's a good definitely a good first step
right.
to handling. I wouldn't have thought of that personally.
Yeah. It's just like
it's very simple, but you know,
it's very simple,
helpful.
and you can't even imagine just that one little change that they have in their day.
Yeah.
Is how it affects them. You know.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, especially when you like, if you just don't have the ability to
Right.
even have clean clothes, like you just don't have the option. You know, I think that, you know, that being changed, having that option, just like you're not worried about it. You're not like whether or not you even got picked on or not, like you're not worried about, stressed out about that.
Exactly.
What like, is that like to the extent of what, just like, is that kind of like the first step, or is
no,
like
yeah, that's just like the first step to it. And then like and you have like, and this is where you implement the parents into the school. You know, like you get the community to start volunteering to come in and do this, or hey, you got 2 hours this morning to come in here and do this, or 2 hours after school to come out here and sit with the kids, you know.
Yeah.
Because you want them to feel secure with people that, you know, that they can trust is going to go in there and take care of them.
Yeah.
And it gives the parents and the other parents out here a chance to actually go in there and see what's going on with these kids. It kind of puts the responsibility back onto the parents of knowing what's going on with your kids. You know, like, yeah, we get distracted, we get busy, we're working, we're trying to take care of a home, but I feel like a lot of parents have let it slip to be solely responsible for the schools to take care of your kids.
A lot of people use public school as basically childcare.
Exactly. So like implementing this program and telling them, hey, we got 2 hours available this week. Can someone sign up? You know, like, we need you to sign up. It just gives you like the sense that you're actually doing something and taking a part. And I think, like, I've seen a lot of change in Kenosha. It's been minor, but it's been major to me because so many people have come out of their houses and do stuff. Like I've been working with Miss Arnetta doing these food trucks.
Okay.
So actually Nick has started that from UBMW. He had got a call from an ex-alderman in Racine, and they had food trucks that they were about to start giving out boxed food to people.
Mm-hmm.
And did we want to get a part of it? So we did. We jumped on it right away, including Miss Arnetta from God's Kitchen in it. And we reached out. And when I reached out, we reached out to just everybody on social media.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need help. We need volunteers to unload this food truck. It was 1,100 boxes. you know, we're getting at 8 o'clock in the morning.
How do you figure out, being someone who's, I'm pretty like ignorant to how all of that all works. How do you guys like plan like okay, we're gonna like, where do you bring that food? Who are you looking to bring that food? How do you determine where you're gonna do it?
Well, I'm not sure who determined where to bring. I think Miss Arnetta set it up to go for the first day. It went out to Model Market, which is a corner store in one of the neighborhoods in Kenosha. And from there, she's gone over to the empty parking lot for Kmart. It's empty, so they just come and bring the trucks over that way. And they've been doing it over at that location for the past 3 weeks. And I think that's where it's going to be from now on. So,
and how's that work then? Is it just, families that just need food or whatever can come? Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And because of with COVID and everything, the volunteers that we have out there, we're the ones that's loading the boxes into the cars, and then sending the families on their way. Miss Arnetta does a lot with the homeless. Like she's been doing this for years. So she's been going out to uptown area where the homeless are sitting outside the burnt down buildings now.
Yeah.
And like she's been feeding the homeless people, and she was feeding off her own dime,
Yeah.
So when Senator Taylor had implemented these trucks or told us that we had these trucks, she's like sending more and more, we had one, and then like she called back 2 days later, we had two. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's a good deal. Right there.
But when we did it and we sent out the call for help, so many people from the community showed up. And it wasn't just like black people. It wasn't just Mexicans or whites. It was like everybody. It was somebody from everywhere, all over Kenosha. And that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And that's the change that we need in Kenosha, like uniting as one and coming together as one to heal our communities. And it's not just the black community or brown community, it's the white community as well, so everybody's getting involved and everybody's feeling a sense of responsibility to do something,
Yeah.
And everybody is doing something. Like we did the Code and Toy Drive, and there's like 6 other ones going on, Boys and Girls Club, I guess, decided they weren't going to do it this year. And these kids rely on this every year for Christmas gifts because a lot of them don't get anything, and they're not doing it. So the families are able to reach out to these other places that are doing these coat drives, or random people that are doing coat drives and toy drives, and get signed up,
It's
like
sort of the community pooling their resources together.
Exactly.
Because that's something I wondered too with like, with me, even your organization, even with UBMW, all that stuff. Like how do organizations like you guys accumulate the funds to do the great things that you guys do?
Yeah, it's
like,
hard.
I'd imagine it's hard, but is it mostly like, do you find like donors? Is it like,
a lot of people have donated. I know Remax in Kenosha, a realtor, she just reached out. Like she had put a post up, and my friend, she reached out to this lady, and like they went out, and her whole family were amazing, beautiful people. Just showed up with diapers and everything for these families. Like, what do we need, and what else can we do? And and it's like you really got people that's genuinely out there wanting to do something to help, and everybody is understanding that times are hard right now. And it's hitting everybody. It's not hitting just one class of people. It's hitting a lot of people. You know?
Yeah.
So
everybody is at a disadvantage right now with COVID and everything going on. What have you been working towards currently? Like what's the next big thing that you guys got going on?
The next big thing that got going on is we're setting up a spring Easter rally for spectrum disorder kids. So like we're trying to get the dream park, and it has like all these different little mats and things like that for kids with spectrum disorder or mental disorders that helps them be comfortable.
Yeah.
So we were trying to do a Easter egg hunt like that, but a big one. But we're trying to get all the equipment that we need to make them feel like secure in the areas and not have as many breakdowns.
Yeah.
So because they can't just go to a regular Easter egg hunt and just
Yeah.
just pick up an egg off the ground. So it has to be a certain way they do it.
So how do things like this, when you have an idea, or a group that you're in has an idea where they want to kind of get something done, where you maybe, do you need to like accumulate enough money to then go in front of like the city and be like, we're going to do this here at this time? Or
I haven't started reaching out to the city yet
Okay.
on products.
I was wondering too, especially with the BLM stuff and whatever before, because I know obviously the tension and whatnot. Like, I don't know how receptive the city would be towards it.
Yeah, and then like it's been pretty cool. Like working with people that I have been working with, like just putting myself in the different positions that I have been putting myself into. I've come across like getting to know the aldermen and their city board members or your county board supervisors and things like that. So I've opened myself up to a relationship with them so they can be involved and involving them in community activities. Like we have an alderman, Andy Berg. He's amazing. Like Andy shows up for everything. Anthony Kennedy.
I met Anthony Kennedy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
And they show up for everything. And it's just like taking the time to let them know what's going on and getting them involved in it. I think it opens yourself up to the city opening themselves up to you and your different ideas and your different approaches about things. Like I'm worried now because like we just had a caravan that kind of went haywire at the very end, but I'm out here and I'm doing that, but I'm also doing the community work as well.
Yeah. For people that don't know what that is, what is the caravan? What was like doing a caravan?
So the caravan was in protest. It was to bring awareness back to Kenosha about Jacob Blake. Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in his back by a police officer, and we haven't heard anything back from the DA on it.
Yeah.
So it's like this is what we want. This is what we want for change. These are the 5 things that they want to implement. So we're bringing this back to light because it's kind of gotten pushed to the back burner.
Yeah.
Of things, and everybody's been quiet about it. But it's like we're still out there. His uncle's still here from Illinois. He's out at the courthouse every day protesting. He'll be out there by himself sometimes. It's like, and he's out there every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10, and then he's back out there from 3 to 5.
Yeah. What are the things that maybe you personally, if you can't speak on behalf of some of the groups, but that you want to see change? Or that you want to see in this particular case, maybe.
In this particular case, I really want to see action to be taken against this police officer. Accountability. He needs to be held accountable for what he done. And I feel like he needs to be fired. I feel like he needs to be arrested and charged and convicted of attempted murder. This boy is paralyzed for the rest of his life. He did this in front of his kids in his car, right there, and in front of the neighbors. And it's just like, it was horrific. It was horrific to see someone actually shoot 7 times. I'm going to say if you shot once, but you shot repeatedly 7 times.
Yeah, well, and I, to disagree, I actually don't even think, and I have people will say that I'm like radical about it, but I don't even think he should have been shot at all.
No.
I just really don't think, and that's just my opinion. I know everyone has their own whatever that police officers are allowed to, but my whole thing is like legality doesn't equal morality.
Exactly.
And I also don't think that a trained police officer, when a man is turned, he's on his back, right? I just don't see how you can't disarm him if he even, because that was the whole argument was that he was trying to hurt him or whatever, but he wasn't even facing you. So that's just my opinion on it. But I want to play devil's advocate for a second, because people will say, what do you say to the people that would, in response to what you just said, maybe say something along the lines of, well, that's how they're trained. They're trained to shoot until they perceive them not a threat anymore.
Wow.
Because that, to me, an issue that I have is I think that, like, I'm someone who believes that, like, systematically, I just don't think the way we police is right. I think that there needs to be a lot of change in that field, but I just want to know what your take on that would be.
Yeah, because definitely, like, if that's how you're trained, I feel like you need to be retrained. I think that the amount of training that they're receiving, what is it, 750 hours of training, that's not enough for anything. We have to go to 2.5 years of training for culinary arts, or for all these other things. 4 years training for other jobs, simple jobs.
Yeah.
that are not involving po- police in the community or taking the law into your hands. You know, like we're having actual 4 years training of this stuff. You know, and you get 750 hours that neglects you to be a police officer.
Yeah.
That gives you the right to determine if somebody is evil or not, and you can shoot them.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
it's a really it really is tricky, and I think a lot of people they tune off, like they tune out the second you try and criticize the
right,
system in general,
right,
and I think that that's dangerous because I just think that it's a lot of it's backwards in the sense that some police officers don't even, I believe, don't even have to live where they're
right.
policing,
No, they're not.
and
They
I think
don't.
that that's I mean that to me says a lot about what's going on, where it's like you don't know these people,
Yep.
I've said it a million times on this show where something I was really thankful for when I was living out in Janesville was a lot of the police officers that I came into contact with, they played basketball with me and my college team. And like
Right.
a lot of and guys at the park, like we'd all be playing with the cops. So like my friends, black, white or whatever, don't, if they get pulled over, that
Mhm.
cop knows them, they know
Right.
them. There's no reason for any, no one has any fear in their mind. And I think that's a big thing, is that we're all people. And I think without having like the humanity part of it
Yeah.
plugged in, where you're just like, oh yeah, this guy can do whatever. I think Raymond, when he was on the show, mentioned something about that we should be able, like, we have no stake in who gets to become a police officer
Yeah,
in,
we
in a
don't.
town.
And it's like, and we need to have a voice in that. Like, I know Racine has these places called cop houses, and they have a house right there in the neighborhood. And a police officer is chosen by the people, and some other officials, but they're chosen to who is going to stay in this house, and they actually stay in that house. The kids from the neighborhood are actually allowed to come to that house for study programs and doing things like that.
Oh, really cool. Didn't know
But
about that.
you're actually knowing who's patrolling your area, who's in your area,
Yeah.
and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing turnout because like they have one in one of probably the worst areas in Racine. I remember this place was they what they call it, Jakarta Drive. It used to be called Jakarta Drive. It's no longer called Jakarta Drive.
Okay.
But like the street was bad. The road was bad. Like they had all types of crime going on over there, and it's changed. Like I think they still have some stuff going on, but nothing to the extent that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think offering something like that to these communities would help, and it would help alleviate a lot of the crime that they're seeing. Like I know the shootings have went up for some reason in Kenosha recently. Like it was just like kids were out there shooting each other, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's scary because you never know. Like you never know what's gonna happen. So outside of a police officer shooting, now you got these kids out here in the neighborhood shooting. Then you got people just coming into these different areas from all over the place, and they're just camping themselves right there.
Yeah.
We need to be able to police our own areas, because you have a police officer that's 2 blocks down from where they just start shooting at, and somebody was able to get shot, and you're 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
What are you really doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for police officers, they need more training. Not only they need more training, they need diversity training. They need to be implemented into the neighborhood that they're going to be patrolling at.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think that's I think that's one of the biggest things that I think needs to just be changed. Is just I, like I said before, people needing to know other people. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
you can't grow up, and it's not a knock on anybody's background, but you can't, basically, if you were raised under a rock, your whole life, and then you just get plugged into the city of people, you have no idea who they are. They're essentially animals to you, regardless of race or anything.
Yeah.
They're just that's your job, right? They're items that you're watching, and if one acts up, you're trained to do this. Now I have a different issue with the way that some of the training goes with disarming people and whatnot, and shooting. And
they're trained to shoot to kill, and they're trained to shoot to kill, not shoot to disarm or shoot to maim.
Yeah,
They're
well, that's the
trained,
reason he shot 7 times. I actually think if you watch the video, he tries to shoot an 8th time, but he's out of bullets. But I'd have to watch the video to remember. But and I've had people kind of come at me kind of nasty, but that's how they're trained. That's how I'm like, okay, if that's what you're saying, which, okay, cool, we're on the same page. That's what I'm saying, is that it's wrong how they're trained to do that, right? And I don't know. I think that I also think that argument kind of discredits any accountability that the
Right.
guy would have to face.
Exactly.
But what, like, with everything that's been going on, and especially being, you know, in the thick of it, Kenosha's been on, you know, a global spotlight right now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's sort of died down, but it's still in the headlines from time to time, and everything is still very much fresh there.
Yeah,
with,
especially with Kyle Rittenhouse.
with Rittenhouse and
Yeah.
everything.
And he just got a $2 million bill and was able to bail out. You know,
Yeah, that's
Like,
insane.
it's completely insane. And then I guess his supporters call themselves coming out to support them. Like, we've been out there at the courthouse every day, and they come out there with all their rifles. They're staging themselves out in the civic park behind trees, and one's over here, one's over there, one's over there. You know, and like we show back up to protest, you know, like, and they're out there. So we're basically getting to the middle of a debate with these people out there. And like,
what is something that maybe, you know, being in these like protest situations, or even maybe coming in face to face with these people, what is something that, what are the things that you're hearing from them that maybe, like, where do you see, because I don't really, in a lot of ways for me, I don't see a whole lot of middle ground.
It was crazy, like,
But like I want to know,
that was my first time, like, actually having a conversation with these people and being, but it turned out good, like.
Well, that's what I figured. When you get
it did turn out good, because like, once you start talking, if you're actually talking sense or you're talking reality, then people actually start listening. And it amazed me that people were actually willing to have a conversation, because when we first got there was nothing but hate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, y'all people and you people this and you people that. And I was like, who's you people? Because I wasn't burning down any buildings. You know, like, you people want to burn down your own buildings. Why would we want to do that? This is our neighborhood. Like, this is where we go shopping at. This is the only places that we do have to go shopping in this neighborhood. Some people don't have rides or transportation to get out to Summers, to where they move Walmart out to now.
Yeah.
And they purposely did that, you know. And then they took the only grocery store that they had over in this area. They closed that completely down. So why would we burn down the only places that we have to go?
Yeah.
You know, so no, we weren't burning places down.
So what were maybe some positive conversations that you had with these people? Because obviously they're two very different.
Yeah, I had a conversation with this man and his wife, and these people brought their kids out here. Okay?
And they were out in support of
Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay. Yeah. And I'm just like, none of them had masks on, first of all, so I'm going to make sure we know that.
Yeah.
They're
that's
the same people.
Yeah, there's definitely some crossover.
Yeah. So, and but I had a conversation with this man, and he started asking me, well, are you saying that you don't believe in self-defense? I was like, I believe in self-defense, but I believe as well Wisconsin, Kenosha in general, doesn't have a self-defense law. I was like, so how can he claim self-defense in a city that doesn't have self-defense?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, and for me, it's more of a concern that he was there and he's 17 years old.
With the gun. That's
with a gun.
Because even the self-defense thing of them not having it in Kenosha, that kind of comes back to what we were saying before, where, you know, that someone could argue, well, you know, legality doesn't equal morality, right? So he was doing it. It was the moral thing to do. But again, I disagree, because I don't think he needed to be there in general.
No, he should never have been
from
there.
Antioch.
And so I talked to him. I was like, you know, I was like, as a mother, I wouldn't mind my son to go out there, even as a protest, to a protest. That's why I'm out here protesting. I don't want my kids out here protesting and possibly get into a situation.
Especially underage.
I was like, underage? I was like, he's 17 years old. I was like, that's still a baby. I was like, just like your son. I was like, these two babies right here that's standing right next to you. I was like, you think I would want to see them put into a situation where they had to make that choice to take somebody's life? I was like, and then to be congratulated about it, I was like, that's sick. I was like, that's sick for somebody to congratulate a baby for taking somebody's life and telling them that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay you took two men's lives and you shot another one and maimed him for the rest of his life. It's okay that you crossed the state line with an illegal purchased gun and shot and killed two people.
Yeah.
You know, like, as a parent, why would you say that's okay? I was like, would you tell your son, or would you want your son to do something like that? And they were like, well, no, but he was doing self-defense. I was like, but why was he there in the first place? He should never have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
I was like, that to me is a problem. I was like, his parents should be charged. I was like, whoever brought him across state lines should be charged.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a minor. I was like, you guys, I was like, you're missing the whole complete point of what was going on. I was like, you're talking about the rioting and the looting and the fires. I was like, but you're not talking about the cause.
Yeah, that's something that I've stressed a bunch on this show, and even in conversations with people I know, is that it, even and this happens a ton in life where I see people and I get very frustrated and I have to calm myself down, is that everybody will look at point B and be like, how, and get all up in arms about this, but they don't want to, they skip A, right? They skip steps 1, 2, and 3, but they want to talk about 4. And it's like, and it's the same people who didn't say anything when and I just like you don't want to see buildings burnt down.
Right.
I don't, nobody nobody that is in a community wants to see that community burn, right? I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and I think most people hold that view, but it blows my mind how some of these people fail to see that they're choosing to be silent as things continually get worse and worse and worse, but then the only time they speak up is after, in fact, the building burnt down. How I don't understand how they do not see that they're empowering the people to go burn down more buildings. And that's what bothers me, is that it's, you know, those same people who want to talk about, self-defense. Well, again, you're skipping step A.
Right.
Why was he there?
Right.
Right. To do, basically, to do fuck shit, to hope that something bad would happen. And I don't think, like you said, he is a baby. I honestly don't think, I think he went out there like, this is going to be fun. I had people message me saying some pretty wild stuff that I had to check a couple people because they had made some comments that they were like almost excited for things that were going down, and I was like, what are you talking about, man? We
had another alderman that's actually still sitting on a seat, and he was talking about so which building do we burn down first? Is to target our goal, just like talking this crazy racist ass stuff, like in regards to the protests or whatever. And it's just like, and he's all online, he's saying these negative things, and he's still sitting in the seat making decisions for black communities. You know, like,
that's crazy.
And it's just ridiculous. It's completely and totally ridiculous. And these people are out here, and you're talking about people burning down buildings, but you're not talking about the fact that the officers shot that man 7 times in his back. You know.
Well, that's what bothers me, is that's where I get very frustrated.
You're
it's
not
like
talking about that, and it's like, and then I was like, and what led him to shoot him in his back? I was like, because there's more. It's like even more stuff to that, because it came from a whole another place that has been systematically oppressed people. Yeah. That this racial discrepancy, this racial disparity that these people are suffering at the hands of others here in the city, in your judicial system, in your police department, in your hospitals, in your jobs, and everything else. I was like, and you're sitting there and you wonder why people are upset. You wonder why people are angry. You wonder why people explode and start breaking things and setting things on fire. You know, like, and then that's what you want to talk about.
Well, they don't. Yeah, that's exactly it. I think, I forget how the quote goes, but like, people don't want to say anything while you're being provoked, but then the second you flip out, they'll criticize you for it. And that's literally what's going on here, is that these things are continuous and they're systematic, like you're saying, and people are subjugated to them on their entire lives. And of course, no one wants to see things burn. Right. But if that's the only way that you got into the conversation, you're empowering those people. Yeah. So it's like you're your own enemy. That's because a lot of these people, they continuously move the goalpost, right? You'll be in a conversation with them about it, and at first it's a self-defense thing, and then it's, well, why are you guys burning down buildings? Like, I get what, or first it'll be, well, what was he doing? We got to trust the police officer. Then it'll come out, okay, it was a bad boo-boo on the police officer. They'll admit that, and then they'll be like, but we shouldn't burn down buildings, right? And then it's like you keep moving the goalpost, but they don't want to talk about how we got there. And that's, I don't know, that frustrates me tremendously.
It does. It really frustrates me too, because it's just like,
what have you, like, being out in this is what I was gonna get at a minute ago. When you're out in Kenosha and you're doing these things, these positive, having a positive influence on the community, but all these like crazy, terrible things are happening, where Kenosha's in the news for this insane stuff basically going on. What has been your like takeaway from everything that's been going on? Like, what do you see? Where do you see like a light through all of this?
When I see the light when I help somebody else. Like when I can inform somebody of something that they didn't know about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes you feel good because you didn't have I didn't have like the people reaching for me when I was a young mother, a young single mother. But being able to reach for a young mother out there struggling with her kids, and just giving them courage to keep on going, like encouraging them, like uplifting somebody else, and like walking away knowing that you just made a difference and made somebody else's smile, just knowing that somebody else is there for them,
Mm-hmm.
and letting somebody else know that they're not alone. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter the race of the person or nothing like that. Because I don't. It's just not important. It's just the fact that somebody needs something,
Yeah.
and just giving them just a sense of hope. It makes me feel good. I think that's the light of everything that I'm doing out there because as you see it every day, even when things are going as bad as it could possibly go, something flips it around. Just one thing,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like one conversation that you just had with somebody, and it makes it that much greater. Like, and it makes you want to keep going out there because there's a lot of stuff that makes you want to just be like put your hands up with it and walk away.
Yeah.
But that one little thing makes you stay out there and come out there the next day. So I keep coming back. Like
Yeah.
and I keep
Yeah.
going out there, and but I'm glad that I am. This is like the most positive I've been in my life in a while.
Really?
Yeah. And like
That says something about everything that's going
yeah.
on. You're able to stay as probably as
Yeah.
happy. You saying as happy as.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Like I suffered depression. I suffered anxiety and depression, like severe anxiety and depression, like for about 6 years, and I haven't suffered not one day of like depression. Like I felt down and I felt like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But I've been able to get back up from it, and I've been able to just keep going. And I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling more confident in myself. I'm feeling more confident in my city.
Mm-hmm.
Like for years, I was just like, I can't wait for the kids to graduate so I can get the hell up out of Kenosha,
Yeah.
And now I don't want to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and as bad as it can be, I don't want to leave because there's so many people here that needs help, and like it needs to change. Like, I saw police officers beat down black boys in the county and leave them out there. This is going up in Kenosha. You've seen them, like people just going to jail for the dumbest stuff, and your whole life is ruined. For 17 years, you're battling a case. 17 years that if you were a different complexion, it would have been done and over within an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the same crime, you're as a black person, you're suffering for 17 years for that. Like, and there's no help and there's no resources to get you out of that situation. It's like they want to make sure that you stay in that situation, stay in that mindset, stay in that way of life that you're always going to struggle or always going to have to do things a certain way.
Well, and speaking of resources, I know you got was that UBMW Corp or which organization was that? I'm sure there were several that were getting a lot of people registered to vote out in Kenosha, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was us. We were out there. I know Charmaine Harris was working with a group. I worked with Working Party's family of Wisconsin. We worked with Wisdom with Charmaine. There was quite a few others. For Joe Biden, Vote for Joe.
Yeah.
That was another organization. So there was like so many different organizations out there during the campaigning. And that, like, we did door-to-door things where we're just passing things out or putting them in the doorways for a couple weeks. And then we went and did the canvassing where we were actually door-to-door knocking and talking to people. That was amazing to me.
Really? Yeah.
We were talking to everybody. It was crazy because you would have conversations with people that were Republicans and people that were Trump supporters, diehard Trump supporters. But some people got some negative responses back. I didn't, for some reason, get negative responses back because I just talk too much. I'm just like, I'm gonna talk you down.
Yeah.
You know. So like, I'm just like, but I enjoyed it because I got to see. It's already neighborhoods that I've already known. I've been in. Like I've had friends all over. You raised in Kenosha, you eventually gonna hit every spot. but to actually see the people that was living in those neighborhoods and talk to them, it was pretty good. Like I felt real confident and turning Kenosha blue. We didn't make it, but we were trying. Like I know it was a difference. It was like 7,000 votes that we lost by in 2016. This year was like 2,000.
Yeah.
So we did something,
Yeah.
So, and more people that were more likely not going to voted. So
Yeah, which I think is big, and I don't know if you feel this way too, but I think even in our conversations prior to this on the phone and talking with Raymond, and I think a lot of like the positive for me that's come out of this is that a lot more people are becoming plugged in to the local politicians and to obviously to the mainstream stuff as well. I mean, we had the most voters of all time in the presidential race, but I think that it's, you know, we were just mentioning, and was an alderman that's still on, who may or may not have been saying a bunch of you know sus shit online, and so I think just getting people to be aware of like who is making the decisions for you.
What
right?
are they deciding on? You know, like
that too.
That's what we're trying to do too. Is like instill like a program where like maybe an email system or a text alert system. Mass text alert, like, hey, so they're deciding on this, and this is what you can do. This is what time the meeting is. Like, this is when it's meeting.
Yeah.
This is who your alderman is. Like,
yeah, I think that stuff is crazy, and you know that reminds me of the direct ballot initiatives that I don't know if you paid any attention to that happened in this past election, but like drugs won tremendous, like out of the entire election, like drugs were the winner. Like every state that had a direct ballot initiative that was like in legalization of anything, that passed.
Yeah, they just decriminalized weed in Wisconsin this past week.
That's crazy.
They just decriminalized it. So I'm just like, I was like, that's great. That's what they needed, because they fought hard for that or against it, and they were like, we're not doing that. Like, we're gonna stay make money off of people having an ounce of weed in their car, a gram of weed. You know, like we're gonna study make you pay and suffer for it. So by decriminalizing that, I think that's great. Yeah,
I think it's I think it says something too about direct democracy, in that I think, you know, a lot of times, and that's why I think some states, because I know it's not even allowed in some states to do direct ballot initiatives, and that's why I think a lot of the political system is set up kind of backwards, because they don't want you or I to have say directly, because they want, like you said before, what are they deciding on?
Exactly.
They're giving each other the runaround so they can all stay making money, and they can fight with each other.
And it's so easy to get them people out of those seats. Like these people, I know this one guy, he sat in a seat. He's still in a seat by getting 19 votes.
Jesus.
And he's a bigot.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, so all we need is 20?
Yeah.
Like,
do you have to live in Kenosha then to be? Okay.
So you live in the districts that you're an alderman of, and but there's a lot of those seats are coming up, you know?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is boost up and back up enough people or somebody that we're secure in having in those seats, and give them the support that they need to go and replace these people. You know, like get people that's out there for the community, for the people, that's willing to work and figure out things and adjust these legislative laws and things like that. That's going to help us. Fire and Police Commissioners Board has I believe their presidency seat is coming up in the spring election. Like,
wow.
I got this one guy in mind. I'm like, you need to do this. Like, we need you. And he's like, I don't think you guys need me. No, we need you. Like, he's a beast. Like, he's a beast. You see him at all the meetings, and he's just like on fire all the time. And he's really upset. And I'm like, that's where you use your privilege. You know, and I hate to say it, but you use your privilege to get into that position, and you make a change. You make the change that needs to be made, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when you don't agree with a lot of the mess and the nonsense. And he's very informative. He's very open to letting people know or telling people what it is that they need to know and guiding you, you know, like let me know, like tell me so I can learn, you know?
Yeah.
Like I always voted in the spring elections anyway. But so many people don't. And so many people don't realize the importance of them voting in the spring elections. Like, they need to know those.
Well, that's something that's crazy with me, too, is that I think that I also think that we need more. People will always go, "Oh, I hate the two-party system and whatever and whatnot," but then we don't get anybody to run in a third-party seat
Right.
for anything other than presidency. Why is the Green Party trying to run for the presidency?
presidency.
Why aren't they trying to get an alderman or these like local spots
Right.
first so that we can start becoming more accustomed to these things?
Accustomed to what they are offering or what they're talking about.
Yeah, because
like,
one campaign ad right before the presidential election is not going to do you're not winning an election, and that's what bothers me is that it's like this illusion of a third choice, but it's not really
and
there.
And then they're like, oh well, we got another party that's out there. Well, who are they?
Yeah.
What do they believe in? What are they fighting for?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, well, next time, because this time, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm so sorry, but we don't need them right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we could have backed them if we known about them, but go next time. Like, but until then, let's find out about that person. Let's push them forward. If we can push them forward, let's find out what he's doing or what they're doing or what their ideas are.
Well, take the same steps. If you only need 19 votes to beat somebody in Kenosha, take the steps to figure that out.
Exactly.
Right?
And get yourself out there and get yourself involved, because that's what's going to push you forward. And I'm telling you that I love that the community is out there doing stuff. We have Portia Bennett that's out there that's all over the place. And she's doing amazing things down there. Like, she's getting together groups or whatever of the officials talking with the community members, So, and it's been amazing watching her grow and do the things that she's doing.
Yeah.
And we have Nick. And Nick, of course, he's very strong and he's very verbal about everything that he's doing. And they're working with victims of families, or families of victims. And like the stuff that people are doing are actually building in Kenosha is really amazing. Like you're seeing so many people that would probably be still sitting at home or going to work out there actually making a point to get involved. It's been really good. Keith Richmond is the artist in Kenosha, and he just did this amazing mural on the side of Golf gas station on 28th Avenue and 52nd Street.
Okay.
And it's a mural, and like it's like a six panel mural, I believe, but it goes from one side to the other, and it just shows the different things that's happened in Kenosha, like Kylie Jugga, who was shot by her boyfriend. It shows Jacob Blake. It shows just everything, like, and it's really good. So you have to look it up.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
But he's about to do another piece, like, and it's all about Kenosha. It's all about unity. It's all about the communities, and like more and more people are doing things, So I believe the change is coming.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that we don't need the police. Like that's not my thought process whatsoever. I think we need change within our policing, and I think that if we work together, then we can get that change. Like we can get people that's actually good officers. We do have some good officers out there, and there's just some bad apples, in the bunch.
Yeah.
And
I think transparency.
Yeah.
I know I think we both mentioned before, like the way that a lot of these systems are set up is so that we can't figure it out, or we're stuck in the same way, and or you have people that like you don't even know what they're deciding on. What do they do as an alderman, right? You don't even know. I think a big thing that we really need to see, not just in Kenosha but everywhere. Is transparency.
It's transparency.
What are these people doing? Because that's the thing. We don't see it a lot unless you're someone who watches 24-hour a day C-SPAN. You don't even know what our politicians do, right? And it's almost frustrating to the point where it makes people. It's frustrating when it feels like people like you or I have to go out and do something when we're supposed to have these people that are supposed to be public servants,
right?
And they're not. Right. They're self-serving.
Oh yeah.
Trying to stay in this election. They're just campaigning for the next election. They're just trying to win elections, not do things for people.
And they're not even campaigning. It's like, and it's weird because they're not even making a campaign.
Yeah.
Because they know people aren't going to come out there and vote.
Yeah, and that's something that's scary too. Was a lot of people like almost deterring people from voting, which was kind of weird for me.
It is weird, and then it's like it's weirder when you have black people trying to deter you from voting or getting out there to vote, because it's like, hey, yeah, you might not feel like your voice is important, but hey, our voice has made a difference. If y'all didn't see that difference,
I would have to argue to whoever that was.
I'm just like, what are you talking about?
They're very wrong.
I was like, we were red state, we turned Wisconsin blue.
Yeah.
I was like, what was the black lady's name in Georgia? Got 800,000.
She got 800,000 new people to register to vote, I believe. Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
like that's a difference. I was like,
Yeah.
you make a difference. I was like, it's important. It's important that you know what
Yeah.
your voice and what your vote can do.
Yeah.
And if you do it in your local elections, just like you did it for the presidential election, that's going to be even more of a hit.
Yeah.
You know?
You're going to start seeing the changes you want
exactly,
immediately.
And these are immediate changes on the laws that's right there affecting your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Affecting your housing, affecting your work status.
Well, that's deciding whether you get that new park or you get the new rec center, right?
Exactly.
Those
if you
are
get
those
your
decisions.
roads fixed, you know, like, and all types of stuff. And it's just like, I was like, you guys, I was like, that our local elections are important, and this is what we need to get out there and do, you know. And I just wish people would just stop talking just being so negative and talking down on everything, because if you're talking down on things, you're never going to give ourselves a chance to change anything, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, stop being so negative. Like, open your mind a little bit.
That's a cool, yeah, exactly.
You know? Like,
you gotta be open to change, right? You can't just keep calling out.
Step outside of your box, because I have, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. What do you think, Kenosha needs, or maybe even, I'm sure in a broader sense, America, what do you think we need to heal right now?
What we need to heal is love, and we need unity. If we get unity, then I think if we get people to stop being afraid to show love because of what somebody else is going to think about it, I think that'll give the community the healing that they need. Because so many people are afraid to say, like, well, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I think that needs to change too.
Yeah.
And there's not enough people saying that. And
why do you think people are afraid?
Because they don't want to be talked about. They don't want to be talked down on. You know, they don't want to be, part of a controversy. If we stop making everything negative about...
Stop making it a controversy, right?
Stop making it a controversy, then you won't feel like it is, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, if we get out there and do that.
I get that 100%. Now, how can people get involved or donate to either your organization or UBMW, any of those guys out there?
Well, we're all online, so everybody's online. I haven't set up my website or anything like that, but I'm online as Elizabeth Webb, and my page is open, and I'm developing a website
on Facebook, right?
On Facebook,
you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Elizabeth
and
Webb on Facebook.
Yep, UBMW. They have their site up, their page up, so they're public. It's a public site as well, and yeah, they're just here in Kenosha. Yeah. We're gonna do a couple more events. We're doing a big event for the gifts part of the donations. So we're gonna be doing. We're still trying to find our place, like where we're doing it at, but we're doing like a Christmas carol with the activists.
Cool.
So
cool. That'll be fun.
So nice. To deliver the gifts. So I'll let you know. Like,
yeah,
I get
absolutely.
my everything. Well, you're the one that's like in tune with the website.
Yeah, well, we've got a website. We've got that figured out, I guess. But yeah, we'll absolutely have to spread it that way.
Really, we've been doing the protesting and things, so it's been
boots on the ground stuff, which is important.
Yeah, and I'm up to meeting my neighbors. Like I talk to everybody.
Yeah, which is another important factor.
Yeah,
just talking with each other.
It's amazing. So it's been really good though.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. We're approaching the hour mark, so I don't know. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Darren.
No. Yeah, I just want if you have any questions for me or Detox, that I really appreciate you being on. I appreciate you guys coming on.
I appreciate you opening back up to me again. I was like so disappointed when I had to cancel the last one. I was like, oh man. I was like, let me call Darren.
Well, actually, I want to maybe this week kind of, I don't know if you're open to talking about it, but my audience, because they obviously were expecting you and whatnot. Yeah. So what happened so that they can understand what happened last month?
So last night my daughter left and she doesn't have her license. Which is her fault,
Yeah,
you know.
Okay.
But she,
she's here.
She's here.
Yeah.
But she's got to get together now. So, but I guess so. She got pulled over, and then she failed to make a complete stop at the stop sign. This is on the block from my house at the end of the block, and she crossed the street. They pull her over. and arrested her. But then they charged her like with like 4 bail jumping charges and this and that. It was
How did they
crazy.
even do the mental gymnastics
Oh my
to?
god, I have no idea. And
Yeah.
then it was like so made up. It was so made up. So her bill went from $300, which I had, to $1,300. So I'm debating. I'm like hitting people up. Like we made.
So how did they for like not let's say rolling a stop sign? How did they come up with you're going to jail or we're arresting you?
Because they put a bench warrant out. I guess she missed court. She didn't miss court. She went to court. They rescheduled it. It was during the pandemic.
Okay.
So she went to court. They said they were going to reschedule it, but she never got the rescheduled court date.
Mm-hmm.
So they said she bail jumped because she didn't go to court, but she never got the court date.
Yeah.
So, and then they said they attempted to give her another court date again. So it ended up being like 4 charges of bail jumping.
Wow.
For one court date. And it
Really?
was like, and it was weird. I was like, that's like, we already paid that fine. You know, like we had already paid that fine and whatever. It's just about her license. She wasn't able to get her license for a long time. Like she got into a fight when she was 16 in school.
Mm-hmm.
And they told her she wouldn't be able to get her license. And they just wouldn't allow it. So for a year, she couldn't even get her license. You know, like she kept going up there. And they kept telling her, well, you got to go to court and do this and do that. So, and eventually she just kept working and didn't really worry about it, you know. But now she's got her probationary license. Then she has her the actual test, the driving test set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the DA was pissed while he's in court. Like he's getting real flustered, real pissed off because he's like, they worded it wrong. Like it was something that was rushed. They threw together real fast to give her the four bail jumping counts, and they worded it wrong. So by them wording it wrong, they dismissed the charges right then. Like,
okay.
Like
wow.
the judge, he was like, well, yeah.
So the DA wanted it to go through, though.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
And I believe it was just because of the fact that we've been protesting him. Like,
and they know you.
Yeah, they know me. My daughter, they know my kids. Like my son and her, and then she's been out there protesting with me, right along with me. She's been out with Jacob Blake's uncle Justin Blake. She made a commercial for voting with Justin Blake. You know, she's on there.
Nice.
And we're literally right there in Uptown area. So
yeah,
they just tried to make it really, really hard, and
you got it sorted out though.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's
lost.
good. We're here now. We made it back. So I'm glad we were able to get you on the show.
Yeah, me too.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming
too.
out. I appreciate everything you're doing. Hopefully, I can get some time to get out to Kenosha and maybe come to one of these events or something.
You gotta come out because, well, I know they have this decision coming up pretty soon, and I know they're setting up like a rally just to make people aware that this decision is about to come out, you know.
Yeah. And
the expectations of the family for our community. So hopefully we don't get the robbing and the looting, and hopefully the decision is a good decision, you know. So we don't know what they's going to say, and just hope for the best. So that should be within by like the 18th, I believe, the week of the 18th.
Okay, yeah, it's crazy. The end of 2020, it's reaching its climax. It feels like at this point, it's all peaking right now. It's crazy. Yeah. With all that, so I guess one last time, where can people find you, or any last words you have for people that are watching the show or listening?
Look for me on Facebook for Elizabeth Webb, and look for my sister's house. I have plenty of flyers going around on social media and things like that. So my sister's house, you can reach me on my cell phone because it's already public knowledge now. So it's 847-971-6187. And you can reach me at that number if you want to get involved, if you want to donate, or if you know or are a family that's in need. We are reaching out for more families still. So trying to see what we can do for the holidays for somebody. So
that's awesome. Well, again, thank you for being on. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in live. Thank you to those that are listening on, if this is the next day or whenever you're listening over on Spotify. And thank you to our patrons. They'll be on the screen right now. You guys supporting the channel, really appreciate you helping us do what we do every week. So there's some exclusive content over there if you guys want to become a patron. Go to patreon.com/DarrenRita to become one of those. Other than that, this has been episode 75 of the Detox Podcast with Elizabeth Webb. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me, dear.
and thank you everybody for watching. I'll see